Alright guys, so it's Nicole here, and I'm joined by Mayte once again.
What's up?
And we're just sitting down and digesting all that's going on right now. This little episode is going to be a little bit different than the other ones. Usually when we set out to record, we're just trying to make people laugh, but this is going to be a serious subject. It's a serious subject, and it's an important subject. And we're going to be talking about racism on Glee and in the fandom. And then we're also going to be touching on what's going on right now in the world. And what's going on right now in the world is really, it's got me
Sad.
it's got me messed up.
How's it been over there in Texas?
Texas, we've had some protests, and I mean it's been hectic, but it's like nothing compared to what I'm seeing in other places. And for the record, I mean, me and Mayte may say some things here, and if you don't agree with us, that's fine. You're entitled to your wrong opinion, but I'm just gonna say Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, if you feel a ways, you might as well just click off right now, because this is some real shit we're probably gonna say. We gonna hurt feelings. And if we hurt feelings, oh well.
Here's the thing, I am not black, but I am Mexican American. I am a person of color.
Same here. We're both Mexican American.
I know what's going on right now. It's not pretty, and it's not nice, but in order to create change, sometimes moments like this have to happen. People who've had to fight for rights and for freedoms, they've never gotten anything handed to them by asking nicely. If it was that easy, trust us, we would be doing it. I see a lot of people saying, well, they don't have to do this or do that, and it's like...
It's like we already tried the peaceful way, and y'all didn't like it.
Yeah.
So, take this, and we see that we're, dead ass about it. We're tired.
And, I mean, there's also a lot of talk about how a lot of the looting and a lot of the violence isn't actually coming from the majority of the protesters. It's from a lot of randoms coming onto the scene and just wanting to cause havoc. And also, I mean, there is talk about people in white supremacy groups, purposely, infiltrating these little protests and starting things in order to provoke. Because they know, what, if I start something here, it's gonna look like black people and brown people are out of control. A lot of people want to say, well, that's just conspiracy theory, but, I'm not all-knowing, but I'm a huge documentary nut. I will watch a documentary about anything. I've seen several documentaries about these white supremacist groups, and I'm telling you, they are organized. People want to think that, racists are, you could see them a mile away because they drive a pickup truck and they have a Confederate flag on, sticker on their bumper. But here's the thing, there's a lot of racists out there who, they look like your neighbor. They look like upstanding citizens. They're getting smarter, they're getting organized, these groups, and they're purposely causing chaos.
And those are the ones that are I'm a ruin shit to make you look bad.
I was at work earlier today, and when I'm at work, I usually put, one of my Bluetooth earbuds in, and I, half listen to a podcast. I'm really into true crime podcasts, and there was this one podcast I was listening to today, and they were covering, a story, just a random crime story, but at the beginning of the episode, the two hosts, which were white, commented that they were not going to be discussing anything regarding this because they feel it's such a hot button topic. I can see both sides of it because they're just trying to provide entertainment, but this is a huge podcast with a lot of listeners. They have a ton of fans, and I feel like anytime you have a platform, you should use it to better this world. I was a little bit disappointed because, like, when you stay silent, you're basically siding with the oppressor, they say. Yeah.
But to ignore it completely, to disregard it almost just because you feel like you're gonna say the wrong thing, it doesn't help in any way.
Being an ally is as simple as saying, you know what, I don't have all the answers, but something big is going on and we need to have a conversation. Like, not everybody can go out there and protest because they have, I don't know, if you have other real life obligations. Not everybody is able to put their, feet on the ground and hold up a sign. And that is totally understandable, especially because we are in a pandemic. And
yep.
I myself am too afraid to, because we've had protests here, but I'm just, I'm thinking about my family, and I'm already risking myself going to work. In my anxiety, I just couldn't. Yeah.
Protest is a lot to handle.
Yeah, Mayte texted me, I think, yesterday that she was thinking about going out there, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
I can sense it. I can sense she was like, no, don't do it.
And I told her it's because I think of you as like a sister, and if it were my sister, I'd be like, I understand, but for your own safety, let's just avoid crowds. And so, yeah, I get that not everybody can go out there for their own reasons, but there are other ways you can help. And looking into organizations that are doing good work and trying to help these protesters with, like, legal stuff, there's those kinds of things. And even if you don't have the means for that, just, like, reblog something talking about the issue. And, like, beyond that, I feel like it starts at home. If you can't do any of those other things, at least have this conversation at home with your mom or dad, your brother, your sister, whatever. And if you get any pushback from the people around you, try to help them understand and better themselves.
If you don't know what to say, if you don't feel like you're gonna say the right thing, ask. And I know some people will be rude about it. They'd be like, well, I shouldn't have to tell you. You should already know. But, like, try to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Even if somebody is firing back with that response, try to educate yourself. Google's free, y'all. Google is free.
It starts at home. We also need to recognize things in ourselves, because everybody thinks racism is really obvious sometimes and blatant, but sometimes racism are in these small acts, and we don't recognize it as a society until it's pointed out to us. Me and Mayte, we're huge Drag Race fans, and if you know anything about that fandom, it's like, yeah, it's an amazing, wonderful fandom, but it has a racism problem.
Very big racism problem.
And the Glee fandom has a similar problem.
I think it does too. I think it's more hidden. It's obvious to some, and it doesn't come out much. But when it does, it's in the smallest detail, like you said. It's in, like, a little comment that's not, like, how do I say it? It's not, like...
It's not overt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, like, it could go over your head real quick, unless you, like, read into it and then you realize, wait, is this what you meant? Like, it's like somebody coming up to us and just saying casually, oh, I've been to Mexico, even though you've never met the person, and they just assume you're Mexican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, something so small like that within the fandom, I think.
I see a lot of dislike, a lot of weird, irrational aggression against the character of Mercedes.
Yes.
There's some forums where Glee is still discussed, and I still see to this day a lot of threads about how Mercedes is useless or lazy or selfish. And I mean,
I don't understand where, like, and it wasn't until Nicole brought it to my attention that I'm just like, holy shit. there was, and there is still a lot of hate towards Mercedes.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
And, like, obviously, like, there's a ton of fans who love Mercedes and who love Amber Riley, but I see a lot of criticism, for Mercedes. It's like, I can't count, like, how many times Rachel has been selfish or arrogant.
Oh, yeah.
Or
yeah.
even Santana, who, like, obviously Santana's my favorite character. Like, in comparison, as a friend, as a classmate, Mercedes has been an exceptional human being.
Yeah.
And
she's like a ride or die.
Not only is she, like, a good person, she's also a crazy talented person. I see a lot of comments that are directed to Mercedes, and a lot of it's like encoded language that when they're calling or saying certain things about Mercedes, they don't even realize that they're being racist because they can't recognize it in themselves. It's been so ingrained to talk about people of color this way.
And I think Glee made it really easy for it to be like a casual thing also. Mm-hmm. Within the show, it's like casual racism. And I'll be the first one to admit that the very first time around when I watched the show full through, a lot of the jokes went over my head. Mm-hmm. And then watching it back, I'm like, well, these aren't really like jokes to me. These are like races right there. Like, that's obvious racism right there. And like, I can get behind a joke like that. I'm used to it. I'm a person of color. We get jokes all the time. Mm-hmm. And within my friends that are black or Asian or whatever, within our circle, of course, we can say jokes, but it's never with that intent. It's never hateful, and it never crosses the line, I guess.
I love stand-up comedy, and I have found when it's an Asian person or a brown person or a black person up there at the mic and they're talking about race and they're making jokes about race, there's a complexity to it. There's a message to it. There's a reason for it. And it's because they have a lived experience. And so it's an issue that they understand very well. However, when I see a white man up there on a mic and he's talking about race, it's very one note. The punchline is never an aha moment. It isn't clever. It isn't saying something about us or about our society. It's just, brown people are weird. Brown people eat things differently than us. It's very one note and it's very ignorant. And then, there's Mercedes, but I feel like Tina gets a fair amount of hate herself. How do you think she was handled?
Terribly. Terribly. I swear there's so many Asian jokes, it's really ridiculous. With her and Mike, because they would always just put them together. Mm-hmm. One joke that always sticks out to me, when I think it was like season 4, 3 members out because they came up with the bird flu. And they just immediately turned to Tina and said, Tina, and she said, what? And I'm just like, did y'all really just because she's Asian? Like, come on. Parallel of what is going on with the corona. You got the corona, you just assume you got it from an Asian or something. Mm-hmm. Tina
became a punching bag instead. Because they don't know any other way to write her.
It was like an easy target almost.
Mm-hmm. We mentioned this before, like, Tina is the Meg Griffin of Glee.
Oh, poor Tina.
And, I will say this again. If I was writing Glee, Jenna Ushkowitz would have had an Emmy for, like, Best Supporting Comedic Actress in a series. I truly believe that I could do it.
I've read a lot of fics, and a lot of fics like to write Tina as, like, a good friend and, like, not as she was portrayed in the show. Mm-hmm. And you're one of them. And, yeah, like, I wish that's how she would have been, but, like, yeah, man, the writers, they really did her wrong. They did her dirty.
Like, another problem with Glee is what they did to Unique. And Here's the thing I hate about it is that they used one of my favorite characters to make a really racist joke, which is Brittany constantly confusing Unique with Mercedes. A while back, I believe I have read that, Amber Riley had told people on set that she didn't like the joke. And she didn't find it funny. Yeah, I read that. That Amber Riley sort of made it known that the joke wasn't it. They had persisted with it.
There was one episode where, when they had all reunited, and Brittany didn't exactly say it, but she was like, oh, I knew she was cloned or something like that. It was the Thanksgiving episode, I remember.
And then there's also Santana, which I love Santana. I like writing her as like this sort of part asshole, part puppy, who's also somehow like crazy sexy. And that's because like when I write her, I imagine and I appreciate all the different facets of her. But the show really pushed this idea very early on that she's gonna fill that sexy, promiscuous Latino role, They leaned into that.
Certain things said to her that almost always hit me hard because I am Latina. Mm-hmm. I am her shade. Mm-hmm. I am a light skin. There's so much that we identify with her. I wouldn't say that I only care about her being targeted, because obviously I care about all of them.
Yeah.
They all went through some sort of racism, some sort of discrimination and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Santana, like, it's relatable now. Funny how the show still hits you in those ways.
Let's talk about this whole Santana being outed and the show propping Finn up as a white male savior.
As if he solved all her problems.
If Finn had outed Santana and the storyline played out and there was at least one scene where somebody went up to Finn and said, you know what you did wasn't cool and you need to learn. You need to be better than this. You're supposed to be our leader. What does this say about the club if you're our leader and you do this and you don't even apologize? If the show had recognized that what he did was wrong, I can almost, like, in a way, be okay with it because outing does happen. And if Finn had learned something from this and came out of it more knowledgeable, then that could be like a teaching moment. That could say something to the viewer. But again, the show didn't do that. The show propped him up as the nice guy who did the right thing, and he saves the day and makes it all better at the end.
With that damn song. Goddamn song. Also, y'all gotta remember, you gotta separate the character from the real person, because in no way are we, like, trying to comfort the real actors,
Yeah. Corey was a good guy. However, the character he played was not well written.
They botched him for real.
Yeah.
As they do with many Glee characters.
This is just, like, a few instances of the show being racist, but there's, like, countless more. I can't count, like, how many questionable things Kitty said.
Jake getting constantly bullied for him being half black, half Jewish.
Yeah.
Rachel has said a couple questionable things.
Yeah, she has.
That Puerto Rican Day Parade comment, whoo! There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so much. Sue is probably, like, as much, look, Sue, I love her. Mm-hmm. I love her. Mm-hmm. I think she's, like, the perfect villain in that universe. But the things that she would say, whoa. It would give me, like, a double take moment almost. Like, did she really just say that? Yeah. But it's almost like the show, like, made it to make us feel like we should already expect it from her, Mm-hmm. So it's almost like we got used to it throughout the whole series.
We're saying all of this, and I don't want anybody to suggest that we're, like, playing favorites or anything, but again, like, we said, Rachel said some stuff, Brittany said some stuff, like, and obviously Santana's our favorite character, but I will be the first to admit that she has said some really gnarly stuff that's big yikes.
Listen, we're holding everybody accountable in the show. All the characters. It's not like we're trying to bash people. We're not trying to bash the show. The show is a great show. It had its moments. And the fandom knows.
When it comes to this, I'm not even going to criticize the characters. I'm going to criticize the writers.
The writers, yes.
I like to think I can write funny, and I don't think I've made any jokes in any of my fics about race.
I know a lot of fic writers that haven't taken it to that point, that they could write the characters funny and still not offend.
You know what? If you want to talk about race and you want to make jokes about race, they have to be complex and they have to say something big. They have to comment on us as, like, human beings, as a society. There's a very clever way you can do it. You just have to be really skilled.
I feel like if you're a fic writer, you have something to say about the world and you incorporate it into your fic. Just educate yourself before you write it, you know? Mm-hmm. If you think a character would say this, make sure you well, I don't want to tell somebody how to write something. I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
But just make sure you're going about it the right way. Send it to somebody that you know that is a person of color or something and be like, hey, do you think that this is appropriate or do you think I should, like, you know, tweak it a little bit to make it seem like I'm not trying to come off as ignorant, you know? Little things like that. Like, I feel like if you really feel like you want to say something within the fics and that's your only way, the only way you can express it, do it, but do it the right way.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. And some people might get mad at this question. Have you ever read a fic and you're just reading Santana and you're like, I bet you a white person wrote this Santana.
All the time.
And that is not to say that white people can't write Santana. You can. However, sometimes I feel like there are fics out there that they're Santana fans, but when they write her, they make her into a weird caricature.
The Latino stereotypes come out real quick with those. Like, it's so obvious. I remember one time, and this is like a positive. This is what you should do. And again, I'm gonna shout out LK because she really be doing things right, and she really knows how to write these characters in her own way, and they're just amazing. Go read her shit. I remember one time she was writing, I forget what fic it was, but on Tumblr, she wanted to write Santana saying something in Spanish. And so she didn't know what was the proper way to say it. So she sent out a post asking what is the right way to say it. And to me, little things like that made me appreciate her as a person, as a writer, because she took out the time to make sure that she wasn't trying to make it feel like
she knew everything.
Yes, like she wanted to make sure that she made Santana look really good, and I don't even know if I'm saying it.
Authentic.
She just, authentic. It didn't feel like, oh, let me just add an A at the end of the word to make it seem like it's a Spanish word, you know?
Yeah.
As some white people do. Like I said, little things like that made me appreciate it because I feel like since I'm Mexican, it made me feel like she appreciated my culture through a character. Little things like that, you know? And I feel like a fic writer should do that. Like I said, Google is free. But also, if you know you have people following you that are Black, Spanish, Asian, and you want to get something right, it's okay to ask.
Yeah.
It's definitely okay to ask. Like, I promise you we won't get offended. If anything, we're going to be like, oh, thank you. Thank you for wanting to write this person this way because that's what their culture is, you know? You might have to edit a lot of that out.
No, I think that's a really good point. And I think that's how all white writers should approach writing characters that are people of color.
And LK is just one example. I'm sure there's writers out there that we interact with all the time that maybe just don't do it publicly. They'll message a friend and say, hey, can you help me out with this? Is this the way to say it? Is this what happens in your culture, you know?
Or they do their research and
big props to them, because it shows that they care, and it shows that they aren't trying to just get a fic out and get a reaction, you know?
So, again, we're probably going to hurt some people's feelings here. With all that's going on in the world, there's protests and riots, and there's a lot of heavy stuff going on. Like, Heather recently made a video. I've seen a few seconds of it, but I clicked away because I felt like it was going to be a little bit cringy. Mm-hmm. And you watched it. Can you tell us what it's about and how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's an interpretive dance to express her feelings of the situation, the protests, and everything. And man, I love Heather. I really do. Mm-hmm. And her heart was in the right place, and her intentions were pure. I truly don't believe she was trying to get clout or trying to, you know, make it seem like it was about her, but it almost felt like that's what came off in the video. The first minute or so, few seconds, I don't know, it's like 30 seconds into the video, it's just her forcing herself to cry. And I get it. I get interpretive dance. I am also a dancer. I understand what she was trying to do. And for me, it was too soon. It didn't come off genuine, even though I know she was trying to be genuine. So, no, we talked about it. We don't want to have somebody perform for us. We're past that.
I love Heather. I believe Heather has a good heart, and I believe she's a good human being with good intentions here. I just feel like this was not the move, especially for a white person. It's sort of like, at the beginning of this pandemic, when things were getting heavy and, like, Gal Gadot started singing Imagine with all these celebrities and their giant houses. Like, again, I understand art can transcend and be compelling, and art is powerful, and art is important, and dance is art. However, I am tired of performances. I'm tired of people performing. I need words, and I need actions. And I get Heather she has a family. She probably can't be out there in protest and all that. She has obligations, and she's taking care of herself, and I respect that. What I would have loved is, like, Heather, like, making a video saying, you know what? Some really heavy stuff is going on here right now, guys, and I can't be out there, but what I can do is sit down with my sons early and teach them about equality, about our privilege, and about loving our fellow man.
Like you said, we are tired of seeing people perform for us. We don't want that. We want action, and we want to see you use your platform to speak to because there's a whole new generation out there learning about Glee, and they're learning about you. We want you to teach them that this is not right.
We talked about how allies are important because, you know what, sometimes it's tiring. It's not our job to teach white people, and that gets really tiring. It gets really frustrating. And so that's why allies are important, because they can take up that space and do that job. And you know what, sometimes in order to get through to another white person, you have to have an ally, because there are people who, they don't want to hear it if it's coming from a black person or a brown person or an Asian person. You can be really articulate and reasonable, but they won't hear it unless it comes from somebody who looks like them. That isn't right. It isn't fair. It isn't cool, but that's what it is. And it sucks. But if that creates one tiny flicker of change, it's worth it. Until this world is in a better shape, that's just how it's going to be. And so that's why, we need allies. And that's why we need white people who have a platform saying, hey, other white people, this is a problem and we need to recognize it.
And I saw comments defending Heather, as you should. You know, I would probably defend my favorite artist also, my favorite character, whatever. But I feel like you guys aren't seeing it through our eyes.
Yeah.
And when I say our eyes, I'm talking about people of color. You guys, of course, you guys see the pure intent, but you also don't see why we feel this way, you know?
Yeah.
Why we were so angry about it, because, like, as soon as I seen it, I was like, yo, this is about to go viral for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I already saw the caption in my head, white lady does this, and that's what it ended up being on Twitter. It went viral, and people couldn't even believe that it was Heather that was doing it.
Yeah.
And, people were saying, no, she shouldn't get all this hate. She didn't mean to. How do you want us to help you guys if you don't let us help you guys? And sure, expressing yourself through dance is fine. There's been a couple times that I've throughout this whole week that I've wanted to do a dance routine also, but I'm just like, this is not the way. This is, like I said before, we are way past that.
Yeah.
And it almost made me mad to see that from Heather, but also I know she didn't come from a hateful place. I know she didn't come from a place of trying to get clout or any of that, you know?
I absolutely do not condone any hate sent towards her or
no.
any nastiness. I don't know. And I also saw online some people making remark that how convenient of Naya to not be saying anything right now.
Man. She tweeted last night, you saw, right?
Yeah, I did. Well, I saw her tweet and I saw her Instagram post.
I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, you should be posting. If you don't post, your silence speaks volumes and all this and this and this and this. But I don't think people understand also, like, this is literally everywhere. You cannot escape it. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube. It's everywhere. It's everywhere you look. And it gets draining. Mentally, you even feel drained. And some people they just need to process it, you know? People want you to have a rushed opinion, but, like, also, if you have a rushed opinion, you say the wrong things, and then they're coming at you again. Yeah. So, I understand why Naya took the time. And I know it's backwards because she advertised her show being on a new network and blah, 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 blah. But, like, that's almost obligation for her. Like, she has to promote.
A lot of that is, like, scheduled.
Just keep in mind that, like, that whole cast of that show that she's on, Step Up, they all promoted it at the same exact time. Like, when you saw Naya posting it, another cast member was posting it at the same exact time. I don't think people should have came at her the way and she responded beautifully. Yeah. By the way, to the person that was trying to, like, troll her. She responded beautifully, and I think people should. This is a hard time we're going through right now, and if somebody needs a couple of days to process and write a post, let them. Amber is killing it right now.
Amber is out there protesting and leading and singing and just being an all-around inspiration. She's really doing it, and I'm just like, she makes me want to be a better person.
If y'all caught up with her lives and her stories, like, whoo, Amber will. If she's making you feel something, she's doing it right. And that means you also have to step up because she's out there, she's protesting. I think one of her friends actually had got arrested in front of her. The cops attacked them. But, and she was being really strong about it, and man, I couldn't even imagine seeing that in front of me. But, she's doing her thing. She's out there protesting. She's not playing with y'all no more. Y'all know how Mercedes was really wholesome? Amber Riley, she's not about that right now. Other than, I don't follow the rest of the Glee cast. Oh, Kevin, Michele, he's out there speaking. Jenna, speaking. I don't follow everybody else, so I can't comment on if they're posting anything. And if they are, dope. And if they're not, I'm gonna give them a chance, you know? Like I said, it's a lot to process.
Yeah, I saw.
They are also white, so.
I saw Diana made an Instagram post, and it was just. Oh yeah. But you know, don't go hating on them.
On anybody, honestly, Glee cast or not.
Like now is not the time for justice boners. In terms of, I'm gonna cancel this person or that person and da 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 da. It's like There are bigger things going on right now.
That's a good way to put it. Also, to my fellow white people out there, to my fellow white internet friends, I am not trying to bash white people, okay? I just want y'all to open your minds. Y'all know y'all privileged. Currently, I'm sitting in a parking lot and, like, a bunch of white people are staring at me right now. Because they're like, what is this girl doing? Why is she sitting in an empty parking lot talking to herself? Y'all don't get that feeling. I can walk past a white person at the park and sitting in the empty parking lot and not even think anything of it. But when it's me, people are like, oh, what is she doing?
Yeah.
What is she up to, you know? We just want y'all to be more open-minded. We're not trying to bash y'all. There's a lot of y'all, and I have a lot of white friends. I hate to be that person to be like, I got white friends. But I do. I live in a diverse community, and not all of y'all are these terrible racist people. I know y'all hearts, but also, like, use your voice and stand with us, you know? Yeah. That's all we really want. Yeah. And we want y'all to acknowledge it. We want y'all to acknowledge that you guys have the power to help us out. And if we all got together, bro, the things that we could do all together, it would be amazing. This government would be fucking out of here.
Wow. Yeah. That's why our government doesn't want to resolve this issue, and it just continues to create further problems, because if there's divide, if there's tension, we can't get together and demand change for our countries, for our world. Like you said, it's just about acknowledging your privilege. And here's the thing, I've been seeing a lot of posts about Latinos and the relationship with the Black community, and race is such a complex issue, and like me and Mayte have had so many discussions, but like in the Latino community, there can be racism too.
Majorly.
And so we also have to like look in our own communities, and we have to combat that.
Now, to my Latino internet friends, also wake the fuck up. Because our Black brothers and sisters are just like us. They going through worse right now. Yeah. Worse. And not to say that the immigration and all that stuff isn't a real thing. I know firsthand about immigration. I know. Yeah. And I fully get it. If you guys want the Black community to come help us, we have to help them. Yeah. And when we help each other, like I said, powerful, great things could come out. And we could have the unity that we would have. Oh my gosh. But we have to fix the issues within our own race also.
You have a whole bunch of white people around you kind of looking at you. It's like, I am Mexican, American, and I'm brown, but also I do have a little bit, well, I'm not gonna say a little bit. I have light skin privilege. I can navigate in a world and a little bit easier because white people deem me more acceptable. But at the same time, like, I don't carry purses, but I do like messenger bags. And if you know what messenger bags are like, they're kind of largish. Pre-lockdown days, when I would go into a store, I still have this thing in the back of my head where it's like, okay, I make sure that the shop people, whoever is there, can constantly see my bag, because I don't want them to think I'm stealing. That's something I am always aware of, or I'm always thinking about when I go into a store, is I make sure they can see my bag and that I'm not putting anything in it, because I don't want them to accuse me of anything. Right. So I feel that. It's like I have my feet in two worlds. In one world, I'm privileged. In another part of it, I still feel like an outsider. I don't know. It's complicated.
It's a crazy world, and we all face some type of discrimination. Yeah. It's insane. I remember when I first met Nicole, I was texting her or whatever, and I was at the dollar store, and some lady just kind of like assumed I was Mexican. I never met this lady, but she was like, I'm going to Mexico soon, right? And I was like, that's cool. And she just, like, kept casually pushing the fact that she's going to Mexico and she wants me to teach her, like, Spanish and stuff. And I'm just like, how do you even know I speak Spanish? Because, believe it or not, y'all, there are Mexican Americans that do not speak Spanish.
I'm one of them.
I do, but, like, I'm not gonna teach you right now. Like, we're in the middle of a dollar store, and I don't need to be teaching you Spanish because you're going to Mexico, you know? Like, little things like that, like, it kind of, like, blows my mind.
I can't even count how many stories I have where a white person does something weird. Like, when I was 19, I worked in a dollar store. There was a lot of white people. I remember this one woman went into the store, and she was like, where's your forks? Your plastic forks? And for some reason, I didn't hear her the first time, so I'm like, say that again, I'm sorry? And instead of saying it again, she mimed. She used her hand to get an imaginary fork, spoon, whatever, and mimed feeding herself. And I'm like, I speak English, I just didn't hear you. What were you looking for?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And, like, it's very casual racism like that people aren't even aware that they're doing. Here's something I've always said. You can commit a racist act without being racist. And that's because you can be a good person, but you have grown up in a world where systematic racism is a thing. And it's in these little subtle things have been ingrained in you if you're white. And you don't even recognize it. And so that's what we have to do. We have to recognize things in ourselves, and we have to actively unlearn that. And there's never an end point. It is a each and every day kind of thing.
You ever had a white person just automatically assume you work somewhere when you don't, when you clearly don't have the uniform on or anything? I've had that happen to me because I was in a Spanish store. There was like a grocery store, and this grocery store, like, their t-shirts, their uniforms are bright green. I was wearing all black. And some lady she was like, do you know, can you show me where this is and this? And I just looked at her. She's like, oh, you don't work here? I'm like, no. I looked down at my outfit, and I was like, do you see the employee over there that's wearing the green shirt? I'm wearing all black. I have a hat on. A backwards hat on. And what job do they let you rock a snapback backwards? At that moment, I really wanted to, like, really go off on her. I was like, no, I do not work here. The person in the green shirt.
Yeah.
And, like, I kind of, like, gestured to myself that I'm wearing all black. And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay.
We're circling back to Glee. That scene in season 5 where Santana is working at the Spotlight Diner and she serves a white woman.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
What did she say?
Yeah, something about her eggs.
Yeah.
That are not hot enough, but I think she tried to say it in Spanish or something.
Yeah.
Like, the lady goes, oh, you speak English. I thought you were Mexican. Or something like that. And then Santana goes, I'm from Ohio. And that's when she's like, oh, I didn't know there was Mexicans in Ohio.
Yeah, so I remember when I first saw that scene, I felt it. It.
Yeah. Santana should have hit her with the fucking dish, is what she should have done. She had a Karen haircut. You seen that?
Yeah, I was about to say, Santana had a scene with the Karen. Gosh.
Oh my god, the Karens are taking a whole new level these days.
I don't post a lot on Instagram, but I am on Instagram a lot for the memes and the Britannia edits.
We're constantly sending each other these memes, y'all.
There's some wild Karens going around. Don't be a Karen, and if you see a Karen out in the wild, just shame her. Pull your phone out and just
make them look so stupid, y'all. Like, because it doesn't take much. Honestly, it doesn't take much.
No.
Don't be a Karen, y'all. I love some of y'all. I love most of y'all. Whoever hits me up and stuff, I love y'all. Don't be a Karen, please. Don't make me hate y'all for being a Karen.
But again, we're not trying to hate on white people. We're just talking about race, and that's something the black community, like, we don't have to deal with what they deal with. I've never feared for my life. I mean, the only time I feared for my life, it was because of a government official. Did I ever tell you about this? No, I was going down to Louisiana. I was by myself. And I guess we were way down in the South, and I guess there was, some immigrants that they found there, and there was actual, like, those, like, armored vans that they were putting people into, and there was, like, this whole team of guys, and, like, it wasn't SWAT gear, but it was very similar. I guess, I don't know, was it ICE?
Yeah, it sounds like ICE.
But, anyway, so they were rounding people up and this was at a Greyhound station. They had found these people there, they were putting them in, these weird armored vehicles, and I was getting ready to board my bus when one of these men approached me, and he asked what my name was and where I was from and if I had ID. And here's the thing, I was born in America, and I know I'm an American. However, in that moment, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm an American, everything's gonna be alright. I'm thinking, well, I'm brown. What if he thinks, like, my ID is fake? Mm-hmm. What if he just tosses me in somewhere? I don't know. Thankfully, he took my word. Again, because he took my word for it. I was on my way. I was heading back to Texas, and he took my word for it. And maybe he took my word for it because, again, I have light skin privilege, and the people he was putting in that truck or whatever, they were darker skinned. So that's something I recognized right there in that moment.
Yeah, it could have been that. It could have been a lot of things.
Yeah.
But guys, they're assholes. I'm 26, and 26 years of life, I've constantly heard the same jokes, the same remarks, the same assumptions of my culture, just based off of the way I look. So, like, to me, I'm kind of like numb to it, but it still hurts, man. You hear it, especially on TV shows like Glee. That shit hurts, and you're like, oh, whoa, this is real. This is still happening.
Yeah,
you know, it's crazy.
I love Glee, but Glee has its problems, and I think it's okay to love something as long as you acknowledge its faults. I don't know. I don't know what the point of this episode was.
I think we just needed to express what we felt.
Yeah, and
like I was saying earlier, like, we're not trying to bash anybody. This is, like, you can hear it in our voice. This is some real shit. This is stuff that we personally felt, gone through, seen firsthand, everything. It's not like I saw it on TV and I'm just gonna talk about it, you know?
And so,
stuff that we relate to.
All of these really minor things that Mayte and I deal with, they're really annoying, especially, like, over a lifetime, but we're all fighting against something. But what the Black community is going through right now, it's just unimaginable. And the thing is, we're not even seeing half of it, because, like, smartphones have been around for 15 years or so, but just think about how many Black men and women have died, and because there was no video, and it was all swept under the rug.
Exactly. This is mostly just to have you guys open your eyes. If we can help you open your minds, and even if it's not you personally, because you already know that this is not, everything that's happening is not right. You can share it with a friend. Yeah. Share it with a family member, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like everybody who's probably listening to this, the few people who are listening to this, they're on the right side of history. I know y'all are. I know y'all are. When I'm talking about white people, I'm really not even talking about you. Yeah. It's just like the general you.
Yeah, we're not aiming at anybody particularly, like, within the fandom, you know?
If you're on lockdown, and here's the thing, there's protests and riots, even here in Texas. We have a curfew for the next 4 days, an 8 p.m. curfew. If you're stuck at home, there's an amazing documentary on Netflix that I would suggest, and it talks about racism. It talks about how it's embedded into our society, into our government. It's called The 13th, and it was released in 2016. I've seen it at least 3 times. It is powerful, it is important, and it really explains this complex situation in really simple terms. I remember when it was released, I talked about it, especially to my white friends. It's a really good documentary, and it's a place to start.
I know some of the stuff is like really heavy, but it's reality. It happened.
Yeah.
And it's still happening. I mentioned this to Nicole. I saw some dude that I follow. He said that we're the most desensitized, sensitive generation ever. Mm-hmm. As in, we've seen so many videos of people dying, but we're so numb to it, but we're also really outraged, you know? And I think that's like the perfect way to describe this generation, the new generation even too.
Or the people want to say like slavery ended such and such like, so many years ago. I don't understand why Black people can't get over it. And it's because there is this thing called generational trauma. It's not even about Black people not being able to get over it. It's white people who can't get over it because white people are still standing in the way of progress.
Period. There's a lot we could say. And this one episode could go on for hours if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But also, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm a person that has the thoughts, but can't like articulate it right. Like, that's why you always hear me stuttering sometimes. Sometimes that's why I don't say anything at all. But I have a lot of feelings, man. Mm-hmm. And if I let my feelings come out, a lot of y'all gonna hate me. And I don't know if it's because you don't want to hear the truth, or because I'm annoying, or because I might have offended you. But these are real feelings.
Yeah.
And like I said, we can go on hours about it.
Yeah.
But the point is, we just want everybody to get together and be united. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we want.
Yeah.
We want people to acknowledge it, to accept it, to change it. That's it.
That's perfect. It's perfectly worded right there. Again, it starts at home. Mm-hmm. So whoever you're quarantining with, even if you can't go march or whatever, sit down at the dining table and have a conversation. Have a conversation with them. And maybe y'all are all on the same page and you're all on the right side of history. Maybe the people in your house, you know, have different views. Try to help them. Try to be an ally so that when they go out into the world, you know, they're a little more knowledgeable. Again, I don't know what this episode is, guys. It's just like, I felt like we had to say something.
Felt like a venting session.
Yeah.
Low-key feel a little bit lighter now.
I know we didn't really get to touch on a lot of Glee, but, yeah. So, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of protests going on around pretty much everywhere. So if you're anywhere near that, please be safe. If you're going to go out there and protest,
wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
We're still in a pandemic. Yo.
Wear a mask. They say leave your phone at home. Try not to be posting to social media because, you know, you could be targeted, stuff like that.
Also, if you do post and you happen to post a picture of like all the protesters and stuff, make sure to blur it, like at least to the point that you can't recognize anybody's face.
Yeah.
I know some of y'all want to be aesthetically pleasing to your account, but it's not about that right now. Yeah. Y'all want to post it and acknowledge that y'all went and let people know that you went to the protest, and if a picture is your proof, just blur out the protesters' face and stuff because cops are relentless right now. They're not playing.
They're going after people.
All in all, be safe. Please don't give in to I want to say, I understand the riots. Don't agree with them. I don't agree with the looting and everything, but I understand. But also, there are people that are looting that are doing it for all the wrong reasons. They're not with the protesters. They're not standing for anything. They're just being idiots. So please don't be a follower. Use your brain. We want you guys to make it home safe.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters at the end of the day, you know?
I don't know. I don't even know how do I end this?
I hope you guys have a better week. I don't know. I guess just stay mentally sane. Try to distract yourself a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
to see something else, you know? Lately, Nicole got me into this Discord, Britannia chat.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good distraction.
Yeah.
People are really dope on there. Go check them out. They're really funny. There's cool people in there. So check that out.
So there's a Britannia Discord, and it has a ton of people like LK, Where's My Naya, Giraffes Eat Trees, countless other people. You can find an invite on Tumblr, or you can message one of us or whatever. A few days ago, Mayte like finally joined, and there was like 12 different conversations going on at once. So there's,
bro, it was popping.
So there's a lot of us there. Yeah, we talk about Britannia a lot, but we also like, also like, what'd you have for lunch today? It's
cool people's on there.
Mm-hmm, so it's a great place, especially if you're a little bit, if you're isolated and you're just looking to chat. Hit that up, please.
You'll find us on there. We can all chat together.
Yeah. All right. So take care, guys. Be safe. Later.
Peace.
Heads up, guys. Me and Mayte recorded the episode yesterday afternoon, and then a few hours later, this story went viral involving Michele and Samantha Ware, who played Jane in season 6. Because the subject was racism on the show and in the fandom, I felt like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just talk it out. I was not expecting this.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
well, not out of nowhere,
we've always suspected, at least, that Leah was a little bit difficult, and, I always chalked it up to just sort of normal diva-like behavior from an actress, but Samantha Ware has basically stated that Michele made her life hell on the Glee set in season 6. And she's accused her of some, heinous behavior. And Michele supposedly said to Samantha that she would shit in her wig. Samantha said this on Twitter. Alex Newell, who played Unique, pretty much co-signed it. As did Yvette Nicole Brown, who was a cast member of Community, as well as the mayor. And if you recall, Michele was on The Mayor, which was a short-lived NBC show, pretty much co-signed it as well. And then there was, this morning I saw an actor from Black Lightning, who was on an episode of Glee, has said that Michele didn't allow him to sit down and eat with the cast because, quote, you don't belong here.
Also, if you scroll down that tweet, also there's another person that said that they worked as an extra season 6 and said that whenever the directors and the producers told the extras to come in, Leah would refer to them as the cockroaches.
Oh my god. Really?
I saw that one on Tumblr literally right before you called me.
Oh, okay. And here's another so if you know me and you know my work, obviously because of Squirrel Friends, I'm a huge Drag Race fan. And one of my favorite queens is Willem Belli. Here's the thing, way back in the day, Willem Belli is going to have a little bit of a cameo on Glee. Me being a Glee fan and a Willem fan, I was like, yes. It never happened. But in the past, I want to say 3 or 4 months, there was an episode where Willem Belli went on Jenna and Kevin's podcast to promote a different project. Now, they talked about this project, and Willem mentioned how he was on the set of Glee, but the atmosphere was toxic. He says he went up to Chris Colfer and said, your friend is being a bitch to me. Now, he didn't say the actress's name. You can tell Kevin and Jenna kind of move the subject along. Willem Belli didn't say who had treated him poorly. But when I listened to that months ago, I was like, do you think that was Leah? I texted Mayte that. And we tried to figure out what scene it could have been. And my guess has always been Willem was supposed to be in the Let's Have a Kiki scene with Shangela, who is also another huge famous Drag Race star. Shangela is pretty much the Beyonce of like the Drag Race universe. We always suspected that Willem was supposed to be in that scene with Shangela. Willem, like when all of this was going down last night, Willem hopped on Twitter and said that Leah had treated him like a subhuman, that it caused him to walk away from his cameo. And that's why we never saw Willem Belli on Glee.
Did you scream when I said that screenshot? Because I was like, Nicole!
We were on the Britannia Discord last night, and it was popping off.
Literally like 0 to 100. Real quick.
I'm not a Leah stan, but I've always liked Rachel because Rachel isn't perfect, but she is a compelling character. But this really just, kind of puts me off, like in a huge, huge way. All of the actors that have sort of came out and co-signed what Samantha has said, they're all black. Samantha, Alex, Yvette,
Did you mention Amber?
Oh my gosh.
Amber's the gifts are the most telling, and she didn't say anything. She just posted the gifts. But how is it such a coincidence that she posted them right after that tweet?
Yeah, and just to clarify, like, Amber didn't say anything overtly. However, when Samantha said this and it was all popping off, Amber Riley was on Twitter and she posted some cryptic GIFs, and it got people to thinking. And I do believe, this is just my theory, but I do believe Amber has stories to tell and some experiences that are not pleasant that involve Leah Michele.
And right now, she is not with the shit. Excuse my language.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, with everything happening, I said this last night in the chat. No one is safe, and I feel like them stories are. It might not come out. Maybe Amber might not say nothing, or maybe she will. Who knows? But at this point, it's starting. No matter who comes out with the story, if it's credible, and it seems like it is, because it's like it's not just one person saying it, and then everybody else is just like, no. There is people subliminally saying things and posting things. And there's other people that are just straight up saying, yes, this is true. This is what Leah does. Why wouldn't we believe them, you know?
Again, as all of this was popping off on Twitter last night, you can imagine fans were posting and reacting and all that. And Kevin got online and he began to respond to people's tweets. And he was trying to debunk some stuff by claiming things were false.
Which, with Cord, which I didn't hear anything about that until last night.
I mean, one of the pieces of evidence people have is that he follows Trump on Twitter, which a lot of like Democrats and a lot of like liberal people follow Trump on Twitter as well in order to just stay informed of what that idiot is saying. And also, like, Cord's family are Republicans and Trump supporters, which that is gross. However, I know parts of my family are trash, but that doesn't mean I am. So who knows? Right. So I'm not saying that it's impossible for Cord to be with that, but I'm just saying we don't know. Wow. Yeah.
You can hear from our voices that we were up late.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's 10:53. I woke up an hour ago. And I'm dead, and we still woke up to more messages from people that were catching up from last night. And there's still tiny bits coming out, and I feel like throughout the day we're probably gonna see more. Leah always gave me weird vibes.
You could say like, well, this is just, like, these are just accusations, which that's true. But when you have, 4 or 5 different black actors and actresses making claims.
Let's not forget the biggest claim, though. And we were warned in Naya's book. Naya's been saying it. Mm-hmm. It's been rumored since season 5. We all know the Leah and Naya drama. That wasn't not for nothing. It wasn't. Sure, maybe they clashed because they have big personalities and stuff, but like, even after the fact, Naya said, I don't want to quote the thing 'cause I don't have the book in front of me. But she basically said Leah is difficult to work with, and in terms of her criticizing people, calling them names, you know, whatever it is.
Well,
Naya said it.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. I always heard those things, and I was always sort of under this impression, yeah, Leah is probably a lot to work with. She's probably demanding and difficult and diva-like. And being those things is one thing. Being racist and displaying anti-black behavior, that's a whole nother thing.
Because I mentioned Naya, I know people are probably going to bring up the whole Corona Cinco de Mayo joke. There's some people that are going to call her racist, and then there's some people that are like, well, it was just a harmless joke. And for me, personally, as a Hispanic woman, how can I say this without, like, trying to, like, make it seem like... to me, it was a harmless joke. It wasn't nothing crazy. There was worse Corona jokes out there, and for me, that doesn't deem Naya as racist to me. Your opinion is something else. Let's talk about it. I would like to know everybody's opinion on it, so we can, like, see each other's point of view. Really badly timed, because of everything that was happening. It was still kind of really fresh. To compare that and then Leah's situation,
and it's different when you're calling somebody out who has a pattern of behavior that is gross. Okay, so this is the weirdest thing. For the past month or so, I have been working on a one-shot called Cancel Culture. Over the course of the story, Santana is continually, like, poking fun at Rachel on, like, social media and, like, always, like, starting rumors or saying something to get her stans to, like, play with Rachel's stans, and it's this always back and forth and how they use social media to, like, tease each other. At the very end of the story, Santana decides that she's going to get Rachel canceled on the internet, and it happens on Twitter. She gets Rachel Berry is canceled party to trend, and I've been working on that for a month, and I have Mayte and Riz, who is Where's My Naya, they can vouch for me because I was, like, running storylines and bits and pieces of the story through them, and it's Santana gets Rachel Berry canceled was the basic premise of my one shot, and this just happened last night, and I was just like, whoa.
Telling you, putting things out in the universe.
Oh my god.
It's gonna hit different now when we read it.
And I'm sure I'm gonna get people who are like, why are you taking a real life situation and making it into a comedy? And I'm like, I wrote this before.
You're gonna have to write in your little author notes before people start reading it.
It's about 75% finished. I just have, like, 2 or 3 scenes to go.
Now I really can't wait.
No matter who you are, whether you're Leah Michele or an average person, like, this behavior isn't cool. And especially, it's not cool when you're, like, talking to your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers who are black like this. Like, it's just like...
Don't do it. Don't be that person. All the words have come out of me. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even know how to...
I mean, karma is a bitch. It's gonna come back on you. Whether you're just a regular bitch or a racist bitch, it's gonna come back on you. Viral videos out there of Karens and male Karens, like, acting a fool and treating people of color, especially black people, like trash, and, like my best friend, like, his boss, he went viral because racially profiling black men. My friend's boss is a douchebag. I've heard stories about this guy for 10 plus years about how he's trash, how he's horrible, how he just treats people like scum. My friend has spent years with this company working directly under this guy, and he was just so frustrated, but he couldn't walk away because that was his livelihood. And I would get frustrated because that's my friend and he's going through it. And his boss is like, a really wealthy white guy, and I would always just like hope that something one day would come to him and like slap him in the face. And it did. Like a few days ago, he went viral in a video, and his name is out there. He tarnished his company's name that he owns because he was racially profiling a group of young black businessmen. Karma came back to him, and it took 10 years, 10 plus years actually, for it to happen, but it happened. If there's any Karens or male Karens in your families, the male Karen is called a Tom, I've decided. If there are any Karens or Toms in your family, in your little circle or whatever, hold them accountable when they're acting a fool. If you're at the store with your mom or your sister or your dad and they're acting a fool and treating somebody like garbage, especially if that person is a person of color, a black man, a black woman, a black child, like, speak up and just say, you know what? You need to get out of here.
Yeah, put them in check.
Hold your family and your friends accountable for their behavior.
All in all, though, like, when is Glee and the cast ever going to give us a break of drama?
Oh, like I was saying last night in the Britannia Discord. Again, everybody go and get on it. The link is somewhere on Tumblr. Or if you don't have it, like DM me and I will send you an invite. Like I said last night on the Britannia Discord, the Glee fandom will never know peace. There will always be something.
And you know what? You said since it's the new kids like discovering Glee and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You said they're hungry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I was like, yeah, man, because this new generation, they be digging up things. They dig, and they will find it. They will find something. I'm like, yo.
This isn't us like trying to attack Leah. This is us. No. This is us saying, we want Leah to be held accountable for what appears to be a pattern of behavior. Yeah. Do you think she's gonna say anything?
Honestly, no, I don't. To me, she paints herself as wholesome and very not about the drama thing. Because when people were constantly asking her how she felt about what Naya said, she kind of ignored it. I think she only ever made one statement, maybe. It almost worked in her benefit because they were like, well, if she's not saying anything, Naya's the problem because Naya's being a loudmouth about it, She played it to her advantage. So I feel like if she thinks that she just brushes this under the rug and doesn't say anything, it'll just go away and people forget about it. She'll be the perfect little Leah Michele. Yeah, perhaps, if this were normal times, that would happen. Considering what's going on in the real world, it's like, I don't know. Who knows what this is going to turn into in a day or two. All right, well, I think we're just going to leave it there because we could go on and on about this. But again, that would just be speculation because there's a lot of other comments and accusations I'm seeing. I'm sure if there's more concrete tweets and stuff, we'll discuss it in the future. Hopefully, I can get this episode out and nothing else will have been revealed. All right. You had to put the little dun 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 breaking news after the original recording. And that's what you missed on Glee. All right, later. Bye. Peace.